Hi everyone, this is Drew again. It's been about a year and a half since the last time that Brent and I had documented our progress at Seibert, and so Brent came back over. Right now we're in the family lounge at Seibert, and we're just talking about the kind of progress I've made. A year and a half ago, I was becoming more confident using crutches to walk, and starting to do a little bit of walking on my own with crutches. Since that time, I've become a lot more stable using crutches, and then we've taken sort of the next step, which is trying to get rid of the crutches, because it got to the point where I could walk an entire hour with only minimal assistance, so there was no point in counting steps anymore. But now that we're starting to walk with no crutches, we've started counting again, and my record right now is 135 steps unassisted with no one touching me, which was about 3 feet shy of a standard size basketball court. So I was trying to drive the lane, but I wasn't dribbling. I'm starting to get a slow progression of sensation returning over my whole body. I mean, there are places where I still don't feel things, but if you touched me right now on most of my body, I would be able to tell that you were touching me, which is a huge change. So getting sensation back in my feet makes my balance a lot better, because I have a general idea now where I am in space, and I didn't have that sensation before. What we were doing in the gym earlier was called tall kneeling, and essentially it's just kneeling upright on a floor. We usually do it in front of a mat just in case I fall forward, but it could be kneeling anywhere. And what it does is it gives you it generates an increase in strength over your core muscles, over your lower back and your abdominal muscles, and all the muscles that help you remain upright. And so you'll see when I walk that I'm much more upright than I was 18 months ago when we filmed last. And that has allowed me to trust transferring my weight from hip to hip, because my trunk is strong enough to maintain an upright vertical position. That was probably the exercise that I hated the most when I 2 years ago when we first started doing them, or maybe 3 years now. And but now when I sit down to do them, it's not as much of a struggle. And because I have some control over things, I can kneel there without anybody on me and maintain my upright position. And 2 years ago, if they had me on my knees, they had somebody else holding me up. And there's nobody holding me up anymore. Last summer, I was doing some horseback riding. It's interesting because you learn a lot about balance when you're on the back of a horse. Even when you're able-bodied, you learn a lot about balance when you're on the back of a horse. But you never know exactly which way the horse is going to move, so you have to react to whatever the horse is doing. And it taught my body, especially my core of my body, a lot about staying upright to be on the back of the horse. And it was fun. I used to ride when I was back in medical school, and I haven't been able to do anything like that since then, so it was fun. 18 months ago, we were doing a test drive to allow me to eventually get my driver's license back, and I've gotten that back now, and in fact, pretty much everywhere I go, I'm the driver. It's allowed me to resume some of the social things that I was missing out on before, and when I had to recruit a driver or hire a driver, because now I can, if I want to go eat dinner and it's across town, I drive across town. This past weekend, I went to my cabin in North Carolina, because the leaves were beautiful. But when I went up there, I drove the entire way, including the steep mountain roads, and drove the whole way back. It's about a 3-hour trip each way, and I was the driver. There were 2 other people in the car who were able-bodied, and I drove anyway. And man, it makes a huge difference. I think I owe a lot of people rides for the 4.5 years that they drove me around town. So if you need a ride anywhere, just call me. about a year ago, I met a woman on eHarmony. Her name's Flinda, and it was early October, so it's been almost exactly a year that we've been dating. It's been going well. I had been on eHarmony for quite a while before that, and I usually didn't mention the wheelchair until the first time that we talked on the telephone. And it turned out that I was getting a lot of people who were matched to me, but not very many people who wanted to go out after they found out about the wheelchair. So after a while, I just put it out right on the profile at the very beginning that I was in a bad accident, I'm in a wheelchair and I'm recovering. And then all of a sudden, I started getting dates. It was a big change. Well, Funda is from Turkey. She lives in Montgomery, Alabama now, and is a counselor, and she commutes back and forth most weekends. So we get to spend the weekends together, but not during the week. She's been a good influence in my life. And finally, the last thing that's changed is that there is an abnormal growth of hair on my upper lip. The reason for the mustache, and I admit it's cheesy, but the reason for the mustache is that I'm growing the mustaches for kids, and I'm using it to draw attention to the fact that I'm raising money for Cure Childhood Cancer, which is a local charity that supports the kids and their families when a kid develops cancer. It's a worthy charity if you can pitch in a few dollars, but even a few dollars would help.